Carlos Sainz has finally decided his future, with the Spaniard joining Williams on a multi-year deal until at least 2026, creating a formidable driver lineup into F1's new era with Alex Albon. Sainz's contract means that Logan Sargent is on the driver market for 2025. Embattled Mexican Sergio Perez will remain a Red Bull driver after the summer break, following crunch talks held in the aftermath of the Belgian Grand Prix. Checo has seriously struggled to deliver in recent times, with 4 Q1 exits in the last 6 races, which has left him 6 places and 146 points behind his teammate Max Verstappen in the drivers' standings. RB's Daniel Ricciardo and reserve Liam Lawson were on the short list to replace the Mexican, with Yuki Tsunoda an option. But a statement from Red Bull didn't confirm Checo will remain for the season. Instead, that the squad is looking forward to seeing Perez perform at tracks he has previously excelled at after the summer break, suggesting Azerbaijan and Singapore could be key events. Lewis Hamilton says it's disappointing for Mercedes to lose its 1-2 result, which would have been the squad's historic 60th, despite the Brit inheriting the win after his teammate George Russell was disqualified for an underweight car. Hamilton looked visibly upset post-race after his squad failed to enact team orders that would have returned the lead to him in the closing laps, with the Silver Arrows allowed to race. But Hamilton spoke up for the disqualified Russell in the race's aftermath, with reason to be excited for the season's second half. "I feel for George," said Hamilton, "and you don't want to win a race through a disqualification, but we have been back in the fight for victories in the past few races." McLaren young gun Oscar Piastri says he could have fought for victory in Belgium had he not overheated his tires behind Ferrari's Charles Leclerc in the race's closing stages. Piastri pitted on lap 30, but took until lap 36 to get past the Monegasque, by which time his tires had overheated, ensuring he could not get close enough to the squabbling Mercedes. Despite the trio covered by 1.173 seconds at the flag, the closest finish without any safety car intervention since the 2016 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. "I'm very happy with the results, and I don't think we could have done too much more," Piastri said. Haas hit the headlines in Spa with news that it had finally inked its first Grand Prix winning driver Esteban Ocon on a multi-year deal, a move that completed its 2025 lineup. Ocon made news in June when it was announced he would leave Alpine, with paddock chatter intensifying over recent weeks that he'd join Haas to not just safeguard his future, but provide experienced muscle to rookie Oliver Behrman. Ocon was naturally thrilled to go stateside, with a familiar face at Haas in team boss Ayo Komatsu, who he's known since 2014. "Our personal history dates back to Esteban's maiden run in an F1 car," Komatsu said. "I was his race engineer that day with Lotus." Alpine is set for another shakeup, with news that team boss Bruno Famin will step down by the end of August, and his rumored successor said to be high-tech F2 and F3 chief Oliver Oakes. Famin joined Alpine as engine boss in 2022 and stepped up to F1 team principal as an interim role during a time of great change from 2023. But with executive advisor Flavio Briatore pushing for a Mercedes engine deal, Famin will return to Viry-Châtillon to manage the change, with the team set to be run by Oakes, whose successful high-tech squad races in F2, F3, GB3 and in F4. Max Verstappen says he's not banned from late-night online racing during F1 weekends, just that there's no races coming up. The Dutchman came under fire in Hungary, where he was racing online until 3 a.m. Sunday morning, then struggled in the afternoon's Grand Prix, with no shortage of angry comments over team radio. But while Red Bull Motorsport consultant Dr. Helmut Marko said he had agreed with Verstappen, there would be no more late-night online racing. The Dutchman said it's an important part of his life and that there was no ban in place, simply that he's done for the moment. I've won 3 world championships. I think I know pretty well what I can and cannot do, and I am always very hard on myself on what is and what isn't allowed, with all the experience that I have, he said. Mercedes says that it can close the gap to F1 pace setter McLaren in the second half of the season, with no end expected to the gains coming from its current development path. The Silver Arrows have turned around their season via a recent technical breakthrough, with wins in Austria, England and Belgium. But while McLaren remains the quickest, Mercedes technical director James Allison says more gains will be found, especially with development going later into the season due to the few regulation changes for 2025.
My hope is that as we push on up towards the summer break and beyond, that we won't just hold static where we are now, but those few tenths of a second that separate us from first position will be things that realistically we can close down.
Audi's Works F1 project was reshuffled ahead of Belgium, with news that former Ferrari boss Mattia Binotto had joined Sauber Motorsport as its chief operating and chief technical officer. With the Italian taking the reins as CEO Andrea Seidel and chairman Oliver Hoffmann, part of the original project team, headed for the exit. Binotto, who left Ferrari in 2022, will no doubt bring top team experience. But Audi's reasoning behind the move was to lock in the independent and quick decision-making required for F1. Our aim is to bring the entire Formula One project up to F1 speed by means of clear management structures, defined responsibilities, reduced interfaces, and efficient decision-making processes, said Audi CEO Gernot Dollner. F2 and F3 CEO Bruno Michel says that F1 should consider following the example of his feeder series and make its Saturday sprints reverse grid. F1 sprints have provided a path for more action-packed weekends since their introduction at selected events in 2021. But Michel, who reigns over the 2 major undercard categories, F2 and F3, where reverse grid races are commonplace, says it could work in F1.
It gives something different. You know, already the introduction of the sprint race in Formula One was not something that was so easy to do, and Stefano had to fight for that. And I think at the end of the day, the races where we have that are very interesting. Okay, it's a different format, you need to get used to it. There are many factors, but at the end of the day, it's a very good idea, and I think it can go further, yeah.
Japan's third most populous city, Osaka, has formed a new motorsport promotion council to boost its chances at securing a Grand Prix. F1 is now setting its sights on expansion within Asia, with the US market satisfactorily serviced by 3 events in Miami, Austin, and Las Vegas. But while Indonesia, South Korea, and Thailand have all shown serious intention, Osaka has now joined the mix, despite rival Suzuka near Nagoya, confirmed to host the Japanese Grand Prix through to 2029. With the major city keen to capitalize on surging mainstream interest in F1 and its place as a green mobility testing ground. In Japan, motorsport tends to be viewed as a race for only a few enthusiasts. But diversity is progressing, and it has become a sport that everyone can enjoy, said Hiroshi Mizuhata, president of the Osaka Convention and Tourism Bureau. Thanks for watching. To stay up to speed on all things Formula One, make sure you hit the subscribe button.